I had a little young guy used to work for me, and he was going to start buying tools. And he said, I want to ask you a question. What tool do you use more than any other tool? What's your favorite, most important tool? I said, oh, that's easy. I said, it's my pocket knife. So I got to tell a story about this pocket knife. My wife and I was on vacation, and somebody will tell me I'm wrong, but we was in this state, I think it was either Arkansas or Missouri, and we went to a Bass Pro Shop. And I had went hunting not long before that, and I had a big old knife, and I lost the dang knife. And I thought, that's the dumbest thing I ever did, but I'm gonna go by this Bass Pro Shop, I'm gonna buy me another knife, but I ain't spending as much money as I spent on that other. I'm gonna get me a cheap knife that I can use for skinning. It ain't gotta be fancy. So the guy at the store said, here it is right here. So he showed me this knife. Well, I was expecting it to be a hunting knife. So I'm like, I wasn't sold on it. I said, well, let me think about it. So I walked off, went on around, come back a little while later, and in that same store there, same part of the store, there was a guy up in the front sharpening knives for free. So I thought he ought to know something about knives. So I went up and asked him, I said, what do you know about a Buck Vantage Pro? He said, what do you want to know? I said, well, is it a good deer skinner? He said, oh yeah, it's excellent. He said, matter of fact, I got one in my pockets. He pulled right out of his own pocket. The guy who sharpens the knives for Bass Pro Shop has one of these in his pocket. And I thought, it's good enough for me, I'm gonna buy one, so I bought it. Well, about 2 weeks later, we was running the concession stand up at the football game, and the can opener broke. So I had to get my brand new knife out and open up a bunch of cans with it. And I knew I had to duel it up. And we ended up, a buddy of mine wanted to go to Bass Pro Shop over on the other side of Mobile. Making this story long, I apologize. But anyway, so I went in there, and he says, I went up there, I was going to get knife sharpened for free. Guy said, yeah, I can sharpen it. Well, there was a customer standing right there looking at this knife and that knife. So while he's sharpening my knife, I told him the story that I just told y'all. I was up there, and the guy had it in his pocket. He's sharpening the knife. He said, well, that's pretty funny. I said, yeah, it is. He said, because I got one in my pocket too. So he pulled one out of his pocket. And that old customer says, let me see that knife. Yeah, I want to buy one. That's good enough for me too.